Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Present.
Steve Schmidt.
Present.
Brian Mahan.
Present.
I am
Present.
okay.
For those who are able, let's find the flag, stand, and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice
Thank you.
for all.
Okay, at this time, we'd like a virtue card reading. Pat, do you have one for us?
I do. Caring, love, and attention to people and things that matter to you. When you care about people, you help them. You do a careful job, giving your very best effort. You treat people first. For others, yourself, and the earth. Things carefully, are gentle with people, and things play your care. Treat your body with respect. Work with care for others, self, pay loving attention, and give my best to every job.
Thank you, Pat.
Yep.
And Board of Education guidelines. With an open mind, we will establish an atmosphere that allows expression of all views, even when views are not in line with all members. We will work collaboratively with the district administrator by having open and honest conversations around district priorities. We will work collaboratively with all stakeholders to monitor key indicators so that equitable teaching and learning results in high achievement. We will work toward building a trusting environment where both students and staff can reach their full potential and celebrate successes in academics, the arts, and athletics when we're in school. We have a point of business to take care of at this time. And this is regarding the nature of the meetings that we are having at this time. So please bear with me. A public hearing will commence for the purpose of obtaining, let me back up here. This discussion, this paragraph that I'm reading has to do with the waivers that we're requesting. Terry, is that correct? From the state of Wisconsin regarding instruction. And I'll go through it. A public hearing will commence for the purpose of obtaining public input on possible board action to seek a waiver under state statute 118.381B regarding, number one, public comment period. Members of the public who wish to comment on the proposed waivers may do so. Individuals should not expect to engage in discussion with members of the Board of Education. Each person will be allowed 2 minutes to make a statement with a maximum of 15 minutes total for this comment period. Review of any comments sent via email, public comments, will be accepted at comments to Diana Martinson at nekoosa.k12.wi.us until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. In the absence of any public comment or any emails, Diana, any emails?
No, none.
Terry?
No, I have not received any information. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to comment on the resolution?
Okay.
So do you want to just talk about the two waivers?
Okay,
One
so
for.
go ahead, Terry, and review those.
So
please.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so the two waivers that the district is looking at in this resolution, waiver one is for the requirements of the administrative rules promulgated by the department regarding required instructional hours for students for the 1920 school years, only due to the COVID-19 public health emergency. So that's one of the waivers we're seeking. And the other waiver we're seeking is the requirements to complete an educator effectiveness cycle for educators in their summer year during the 1920 school year. So those are the two waivers that the district are submitting to DPI. And certainly the district is doing everything it can to make sure that, number one, we work with our students and families to the best of our ability to get them what we can during this school year. And then also for the educator effectiveness cycle, as a matter of fact, the administrative team met on that this morning, talking about how can we best support our teachers in reflecting on the year and looking at the data and make the best decisions we can, looking at what's happened this year, moving into next year. So we're looking for any feedback or comments from the public at this time.
Any comments or questions? Administration recommends approval of resolution authorizing district administrator to make a waiver application to the Department of Public Instruction regarding required instructional hours for students for the 2019-2020 school year, only due to the COVID-19 public health emergency. And at this time, there's a motion on the floor.
I'll make the motion.
Board members,
Second.
Cody, was
who's
that
the first on that one?
Brian Mahan? I got first.
Cody second. Roll
Okay.
call vote, please.
Cody Babilski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes. Thank you, Pat. Motion carried. Public hearing adjourned on that aspect. Thank you very much for your time. At this point, we now will entertain the public hearing, public comments from the regular board meeting. Guests that we have with us tonight. Any public comments? Okay, we're going to move on to,
Oh,
and I want to,
Brian.
Right.
I think you were muted. That's why.
Yeah, we do have a question.
can you repeat that?
Can I ask a question? I've been delivering dumpsters, that's what I do for a living, to other school districts, and they're letting contractors and stuff work on the school. Are we doing any maintenance or any cleaning, or like I was told we're not even mowing the lawns? Why is that going on in Nekoosa? Why are we not trying to get ahead of the game, or are we getting ahead of the game for the cleaning and stuff like that?
Brian, should I take that one?
Please do, yes.
Yeah, I'm meeting with Steve Hirschberg tomorrow, and no, we have not stopped mowing. We haven't stopped cleaning. Things are continuing on as they have in the past, just at a safer level. Now, our cleaning has been cut down, but now that the rule has been extended to May 26th, I'm going to meet with Steve tomorrow to see if we can come up with a plan to start our summer cleaning early. But safety is our main concern, and I want to make sure that every person in our district, including our custodial staff, are safe. That is my absolute priority.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but I mean, that's good that if we can use the staff that we have without hiring more staff, that's going to save money in the summer to get ahead. Is what I
Yeah, we
mean.
don't
So I
hire
think
staff in the summer anymore. We
don't
use
hire
our
high-
current staff.
we don't hire college students anymore.
No,
Oh.
we stopped that, yeah.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay, so that's good. I'm happy to hear that we are working towards that right now. Is what it sounds like. Because like I said, I've been at Spash and I've been at Whiting Elementary and Lincoln, and they're full bore working on stuff. And I know we don't have any big projects like they do, but I just know that those schools are at full bore going at getting stuff done already.
Good
That's all
point.
my
Thank
questions.
you very much. And
Brian, I have a question, not so much a comment as a question. Tomorrow we were supposed to be scheduled with the top 10 academic banquet. Has that been postponed or canceled, or what's the plan with that?
that's been canceled.
Canceled?
That has been canceled, and I believe that they're looking at an alternative way to present that. It's definitely too bad that, you know, those athletes, the top 10 academic athletes that are recognized within our conference, it's really a big deal for the families and everything, and we're hoping that something special does occur, but yeah, at this point it's canceled.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we answered your question well enough.
Yeah, I'm happy with what
Okay.
you. Yeah, I appreciate what she commented and what she said, that
Sure.
we're going down the right path. It sounds like, so I'm good.
You can't really tell that I'm pointing at you, can you? No, yeah. And you muted it now. But thank you, guys. Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Keith, do you want to add to Dave's question?
Regarding
Yeah, I
the SEC.
So it's going to be a videotaped. Most of our senior awards are going to be videotaped. In fact, I guess all of them will be. This one, what we're going to be doing is the speaker who was scheduled to speak tomorrow night, she's going to be recording her remarks. Then those will be put together in a video by some people at Mauston. Each of the principals will be speaking the way that they have at the at the past SEC top 10 banquets. And then the students will be receiving their plaques. They are going to tape themselves on a neutral background receiving the plaque. And then I will tape myself handing a plaque, and then they will all be brought together to look like they are receiving their plaque from me. But of course, it will all be done in a digital world.
At least they're going to get their plaques. That'll be good.
They will get their plaques. Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, I have another quick question for Keith. Emma's sitting next to me, but she won't ask it. What about prom?
Prom is canceled. I was working on a Parent Square message. Prom is canceled, but it will be rescheduled. Our full intent still remains to have a prom, to have a graduation. We're not backing away from having those events. But yeah,
Like the
obviously
summer?
prom.
Is that like summer?
Hopefully,
what you're-
yeah, we've worked on some dates. What we're going to run into, we're trying to figure out with prom, is that the DJs get pretty busy in the summer with weddings and everything. And so, we may not have our, the DJ that was scheduled, but summer is what we're looking at. That's what we're
Okay.
hoping for.
I know Lincoln already rescheduled their graduation. So I was just curious. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have anybody graduating, but prom is a big bummer in this house. So
So are
And
we,
it will happen. It will still happen.
are we still planning graduation on the 31st?
We are, but with the bounce back plan, it looks less likely, just looking at what has to happen in order for, things to return to normal. And with that phase 2 being groups of 50, that would be, one, it wouldn't be much of a graduation when the class is larger than that. And the chances of getting to that, I'd say by May 31st are not real likely.
Yeah.
So in all likelihood, we'll be rescheduling. However, our intent in the conversations I've had with the seniors is really, so Lincoln has gone to, I believe, August 9th is what they've rescheduled their prom for, or their graduation for. And we are hoping to have it earlier than that August date. The seniors really, I mean, they want closure on their high school careers. And so if we get to August, that's where we'll get to, but we're hoping for something more in the June, potentially July would be the hope.
Keith, when it comes to graduation for the high school, is there a possibility that it can be done instead of in the gymnasium outside? I mean, my high school graduation was done outside, but I
Yeah,
don't know if that's an option or not, you know?
yeah. So it's been brought up and it's certainly a possibility. You know, so it could be all options I would put on the table. So.
Yeah, I think it's too early for us to make any conclusions at this time with the changing environment that we have. So we're going to continue to update when new information comes available, and new information will probably be here Friday. But I got to congratulate everybody on working together. And, you know, we want to provide those students with, you know, the best possible alternatives that we can. And I also, Keith, you could probably just nod your head and indicate that we're going to do the same for the Reeves Awards. The Reeves Awards, have we made accommodations for that?
Yeah, each department will be, someone from that department will be recording themselves, you know, delivering just like what they would do at the ceremony. And then Jesse will be putting all of that together. Jesse's got some, and we'll also be doing the same thing for scholarship and awards night. And so Jesse has graciously agreed to be the video editor.
Thank you, Jesse. Big things, guys. We're in unprecedented territories. And before we move on, I think it's important that we, as a group, celebrate the passage of the operational and capital referendums.
Yeah.
And the two elections.
And the two elections.
Yes.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I just want to thank each and every one of you for being all in on the referendum. It's truly an historic moment for our district and the future of our district. So, you know, we got to thank our public and our stakeholders, and, you know, they backed us up on it. And we're looking forward to the work. So, and speaking of work, we better get to it. CWSA update.
So I really don't have an update just because you guys are going to go through the contract. So that's really what we've been working on. We didn't meet yesterday for our normal monthly meeting. We met the month before, but contract is ready to go. So that's all that I have. And I guess they're doing well online, working online, because they're a little bit more used to that than anyone else has been. So sounds like it's going okay.
Very good. Thank you. And we'll talk about that with the contract. And then I'm excited now to finally get to Candace and Audrey. We had you guys in on Thursday. I want to thank you for that. But I'd like to turn the floor over to Candace and Audrey.
Awesome. Thank you. So should we just get started with our presentation, Candace?
Yeah, if you'd put it up, please.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with everyone really quick.
This actually started a couple weeks ago. We were contacted by Dr. Corey Huck from UWSP, who we've been working with for the last few years with our wellness committee. And Audrey and I were guest speakers for his lecture and everything that Nekoosa School District does for wellness. So we are his prime example for that. So we were guest lecturers, and then we created this presentation. We shared it with Keith, and Keith thought it would be great to share out all the things that have happened through wellness for you guys for this past year.
So I'm trying to share my screen, and it says host disabled participant screen sharing. Would you be able to turn that on, or should I just send it over? Alrighty. So now everyone should be able to see my screen. Let me get over to that presentation. Alrighty. So yeah, like Candace said, this is a presentation we gave for Corey Huck for his UWSP HPW 110 class. So this is everything that covers for wellness at Nekoosa School District, from students, staff, and the community.
That's who we are. That was our intro. And one thing to know too is Nekoosa has really become the kind of the spokesperson for schools and wellness. And Corey's used us in quite a few different conferences and presentations and saying the things that we do. So our name is getting out there a lot and a lot of positive recognition as far as our wellness program.
Okay. And for the people that don't know who I am Candace's intern up until the end of this month, unfortunately. But I'm also a health promotion and wellness student at UWSP, graduating this May.
Congratulations. So the things we talked about as far as the students was, again, the thing, I talked to you guys in August about our wellness breaks and what we've been doing and really incorporating that into the high school level. And again, this is something that Corey's used us as demonstration. And so Audrey and I have gone to a lot of meetings in Stevens Point School District talking about what we do and how we implement. And Stevens Point School District is trying to implement and follow the things that we are doing. So that's really a cool thing. We also leveled up in the Green and Healthy Schools of Wisconsin. I filled out the health and wellness portion and moved us up to a seedling level. So that was exciting. We got to boost up there. Again, we know we have Phi Ed in all the grade levels. We do the coordinated fitness testing. I'm a K-12 and we're tracking that now. In high school, PE class goes to, I don't remember. Yes. Oh, I forgot that one. But we have that. We have advisories, which create that family environment. We have the athletics, the fitness center. We have open gyms at lunch. We have the student support fund, which is oftentimes the staff donates money for various things. Example, Jeans Monday. We wear jeans on Monday and we wear a theme. So I come up with a theme and send it out every week. And then if you dress for that theme and wear your jeans, you put $1 in the jar. And then all that money goes to Student Support Fund, which has paid for several things such as AP tests. It's paid for clothing for kids. It's done Project Christmas. It has paid for when some of our kiddos had strategies at the home, like a home fire. We gave gift cards and things like that. So we've given back hundreds of dollars to the kids, and this is all from donations from our staff. So we have an account with that, and we're constantly doing that. And then you can see a picture there of our student support closet that's run by Miss Voy, that's full of clothes, hygiene things, anything that a kid might need at any given point. No questions asked, they can come and get what they want. We also have Link Crew, and then we have the Student Health and Wellness Mentoring Program, which was actually supposed to just get up and running this right after spring break. I was working with Mr. Black on getting that up where I had 45 actually we're up to 60, about 45 committed to go ahead from the high school and come and mentor the middle school students on health and wellness issues. So we were doing that with the Wood County Health Department. So that was a big thing that was up and coming. And then at the middle school, we have lunch recess options and intramurals. So there's a lot of things happening in our district for our students.
And so for staff, like all of you are staff at Nekoosa School District, you guys have opportunities for these events and wellness activities for you guys as well at all different levels. So to start, we have soft starts for the high school staff. I'm unsure if that is something that happens at the elementary and middle school level. At the beginning of the school year, the first in-service, staff get together and do some activities, some social and emotional activities. And then there's an end of the year golf scramble. This is where staff can sign up to go golfing with one another to kind of celebrate the end of an awesome school year. And then there's the fun stuff committee and staff gatherings. There's a group of people who get together and they will plan staff gatherings such as potlucks, which is towards the middle of that list, and just fun ideas that all staff come together and enjoy each other's company. So this is a new one, which is staff trivia. Keith started at the high school level right before we had to head on home, but every now and then he would give a question and it would be in everyone's mailbox. And the question I know for our first one was staff member's middle name. So that was kind of a fun way for the new staff members and the older staff members were able to get together and learn something new about one another. So that created a lot of family connections with one another as coworkers. Jean's Monday is something that Candace does every Monday. She will send out a theme for someone to wear. So for instance, like your favorite character. So you can favorite characters like shirt, and then you get to wear jeans for that Monday. But the trick with that is that on that Monday, you do have to put $1 in for that student support fund. So to be able to wear your jeans and your theme, you got to donate that. Potlucks is just one of the fun stuff committees where everyone gets together. Then we have the YMCA Wellness Partnership. This is a partnership that the Wellness Committee partners with the YMCA for discounted memberships for the Y. And in return, we also like to advertise for our local Y and the renovations or the new Y that's coming as well. And then even though we are at home, a lot of this stuff we can't have access to right now, but Ascension EAP is a benefit at Nekoosa School District that we do still have that access to over the phone and virtual meetings. Ascension EAP is a huge part of Nekoosa School District's wellness benefit. These are counselors who are trained and specialize in all areas of health and wellness and any sort of counseling that you may need family-wise or at school. So that's an awesome benefit. And then in the past, there was monthly chair massages, which this semester I was going to bring back, and we had some dates planned with Nicole McKeever, Jesse's wife, but unfortunately due to coronavirus, we weren't able to do that. But I am really hoping that that continues throughout each school year as a benefit for our staff at the elementary, middle school, and high school level. Then we have the adult enrichment courses. So this was actually something new that I've never heard of, which was awesome when I came to Nekoosa, was something that if you are specialized in like an area, you don't have to be like licensed or anything, but let's say I really like to knit, I could teach the community, the staff, anyone in the Nekoosa area about my passion for knitting, and it's all free for everyone to join. So if you see in the bottom left corner, that looks like that was from an adult enrichment course for doing gingerbread houses. And then last but not least, we do have staff meetings. You'd probably think this isn't wellness, but in a way it sort of is, because at the high school level, we kind of changed the environment of our staff wellness meetings towards the end. And every Wednesday we get together, whether there was something to talk about or not, we would always have a check-in meeting with everyone to see how everything's going. Are there any upsets? Are there any exciting things happening? So towards a couple weeks into this last quarter, we decided to have the meetings in a different room. And then we had like this host teacher. So for instance, we had a meeting in Candace's room. And so Candace and I were the host teachers for that meeting. So we got to talk about our wellness breaks. And so then the rest of the staff they knew then what we were doing throughout the semester, and we got to show them everything that we were doing. And we all seemed like more of a family because we all knew what was going on with each other. And then at any point of this, I can only see 4 people on the slide. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to like chime in or anything.
And then the final part would be the stuff we're doing for the community. And that would be like the yearly Nekoosa Athletic Association, the golf scramble that comes up. We just had the student council dodgeball tournament. Again, that adult enrichment classes, and the fact that our fitness center is only $10 a year for a yearly membership, which you can't find anywhere else. So that's really a great benefit for our community.
Mm-hmm. And it is important to know that even though this list is a little small for the community, I think at Nekoosa we have a lot of potential to increase this list. I think that the staff members at Nekoosa are always willing to increase this and get involved a little bit more. So I'm hoping that after my time is done, I'm hoping this list gets a little longer.
And just to wrap this up then is what we did is we worked and we put all this into 2 promotional pieces, especially we were thinking like the school board, the principals to use. So if you're bringing someone new into the district, you can say, hey, look at all the things Nekoosa does for wellness. Wellness is becoming such a big target word, especially in the hiring process, that if you can go ahead and say, this is all the things that we're doing and we offer, that can oftentimes be a selling point for why Nekoosa is so great and why you want to come here. So this first one is a short, brief, just kind of bullet point list of what we offer. And again, I type out everything, and then Audrey's the amazing one who puts it all and makes it look beautiful, because I'm not capable of these things. So this is
Like
our
she said. Yeah, this is the short version of it, so it's something that people can quickly check out on, and it gets their attention right away. And then I do also have the long version up with me. So this is a long version. It goes more in depth of what for students. We have like 3 pages long. And then this is something that if people are more interested in, they can definitely read everything about it.
So that's Wellness in Nekoosa.
Good job.
And then I do want to point out that I did have a slide for the Wellness Committee. Not sure if everyone's familiar with the Wellness Committee. So Candace, I can talk about this one if you have anything you want to add. So this is kind of just a group of people, about 10 to 13 individuals. We have the school district staff ranging from admin to teachers. We have myself, and we have the YMCA partners, and then we have also our UWSP partners. And then within these monthly in-person meetings, usually, we have constant communication to discuss, brainstorm, and create wellness programs for staff and students, and hopefully more for the community, maintain our partnership requirements, and continue to grow the Nekoosa School District wellness culture. And that was all. Is there any questions?
Thank you, ladies.
Yes, very, very nice job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if there's anything that we missed for like staff wellness or anything that you can think of for community wellness that we provide, feel free to email Candace and I. This is only a list that we could think of, which I'm sure there's plenty more. So if you ever have any brainstorm ideas, let us know.
Thank you very much, Audrey. And Candace, very much for that presentation. And I think you need to include board members in any potlucks or where there's food. Thank you. That's nice project. And I'm glad that other schools are looking at us as leaders. I like it when we're better than the other schools. We're not asking for advice. They're asking us for advice.
We're definitely ahead of a lot of places.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I don't know if I need to get host back, Terry, to get anybody.
Yeah, Audrey, could you give it back to him?
Yeah, I can. How did you guys do that?
On the right,
Go to where it
under
says
participants, you get a
participants.
drop-down menu.
Participants?
Participants, then click on Brian's name, and then you can say make host from there.
Okay. All right, there you go.
I got it. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, ladies.
Thank you.
And I guess, Terry, do you need to be the host when the other people come in? Or will you see it? Very good.
Brian, just to double check, are you still being recorded right now, even with the switching of the hosts?
Yes, I still have the recording indicator on my screen. Thank you for checking, Brian. In fact, Brian, since it's your time right now, my friend.
All right.
Eleanor is not with us.
Eleanor's here. She can go first.
Eleanor, good to see you. Where are you hiding? Eleanor, where are you?
She's got the whole family there.
You're all in the living room. They're sitting in the living room.
Oh, I found you. Yeah. Hi, Eleanor. It's all yours.
All right. Well, I don't have much to share. I've been getting through everything like everyone else has been. For student council, we're getting ready to hand it off to the next people because there's not much we can do right now. Really what I did is I just set up a slideshow so that Ms. Voy and Mr. Birch can know what to go off of for student council next year. And I met with them today. And then pretty soon we're gonna have another meeting with the entire council so that we can start talking about who's gonna be in the leadership positions next year. So you'll have someone new next year.
We will certainly miss you, Eleanor. You've been a very well-spoken representative for the student body. I want to congratulate you upon that. So thank you very much.
Appreciate all your work.
Yep. Good job, Eleanor.
And I want to give a shout out to mom and dad there too, Paul, and good to see you guys.
Could I ask a quick question, Eleanor, in a couple sentences? What's it like to be learning remotely at home?
It sucks. I don't really know how else to put it, but I'm a hands-on learner. So yeah, it's not, I mean, I've been struggling to get into things even still, but we're making it work. We'll need some more weeks.
You do get to sleep in the morning.
That's a good part. Yep. I'll do that part.
Virtual applause.
Thank you, Eleanor.
Virtual applause.
Yeah, a little applause. Yes, Eleanor. Congratulations. And I think we do need to give you, do we give out a certificate, Diana, for the student representative? Diana, we should give out a certificate of appreciation for the student representative.
Will do.
Brian, are you ready?
I am ready. Well, hello everyone. It's good to see you. I just have a few things to update you on. So as part of this health emergency, I have sent out a few different updates to families in regards to special education and how services are going to be provided during this time. So I've really tried to reach out to families to say, you know, we're doing our best just like everyone else because we can't be in person. So a lot of our speech therapists, and I've worked with CISA for our occupational therapy, physical therapy, a lot of them are doing telehealth right now. And the nice thing for the district is during the time, the state actually approved for us to bill Medicaid for telehealth therapy, which in the past was not a thing. So that's good news for us as a district. But the response we've been getting from a lot of families and offering special education services, it's been very appreciated. But we've also gotten feedback that a lot of families are just feeling overwhelmed right now. So we're just trying to find that balance of how do we support and help students with disabilities get the services that they need without overwhelming families. The other thing, just so you know, in March, mid all this, beginning of March, the law for seclusion and restraint did have quite a few updates and changes to the rules. I'm working on putting things together to update our admin team, but then in future meetings, I will be giving you an update as well as to what those changes look like, because it does change quite a few things for us in reporting, because I know typically I've presented those numbers to you in July. The dates for those has changed, and then there will be a report that Terry will have to submit in December every year that I'll help him with. And lastly, during this time too, I wanted to shout out the help of Paul Leaper and I have been working with the county to say, how are we supporting families because as you know, some families are experiencing layoffs during this time. So we're getting more requests for backpacks for kids, clothing, personal hygiene products. So Paul's still making sure that the backpack program is happening. And we've created a system where we sent an email out to teachers that if during their check-ins, they're noticing or hearing of a family in need, they're referring that to their building counselor. And then the counselor, if they need additional support, is reaching out to Paul and I to let us know of families in need. So a lot of work is being done, but I want to thank everyone that's putting in hours and helping making sure families get what they need during this time. So I really appreciate it. And Paul, I don't know if there's anything you want to add quick. I didn't expect to have you on the meeting, but thanks for being on here.
No, I just seeing Ann here too. Ann and I have been working together on the backpack program, and it's been good team effort. She's been putting all the bags together. We've been talking every week about what we're doing and how we're getting it. And then I deliver them on Thursdays and Fridays. So I want to thank Ann for all that she's doing too.
Yes, thank you, Ann.
You're welcome. And Paul, there may be another family. I heard from a student yesterday. She had a fire at her house, or her house was on fire. So I don't know what kind of need she's going to be in, but I'm going to contact her tomorrow and then I'll let you know.
We'll be talking about that tomorrow at our student assistance team meeting. So.
But as you can see, there's been a lot of coordination to try to make sure all the needs are met during this time. So I couldn't do it without the team I'm working with. So I appreciate everything that they're doing. So if you have any questions in regards to families that may need assistance, please know that Paul and I are here and we're working to help make sure those needs are met during this time. So that's it for me. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for your
No
help.
question. Just a huge, much appreciation for, your efforts and Paul and Ann, that reaching out to those families that need that assistance right now is so important. So thank you so much for those efforts. Thank you.
Yep, and one just quick note to that, I also want to thank the food service for some of our families where they're not able to get to the school to get the meals. So working with Safeway and Taher to make deliveries happen and our educational assistants coming in to make those deliveries, that's been a huge help and a huge weight lifted off of Paul's and my shoulders of how do we get food to families. So thank you to them as well.
Lynn, could you share with us how many meals were served last week?
Last week, we served over 3,200 meals, and that's been kind of our low week because everybody thought we were closed on Monday because of Easter Monday. So I get the figures every Friday from Connie. So I'll keep updating the board in the board update and updating the admin team on how many meals we're serving. But I have to agree with Brian Grill. Kudos to the school nutrition department. They are doing a fantastic job. And the special and the aides that are helping us, we couldn't do it without them. So we appreciate that so much. And to Safeway, kudos to them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's helping their neighbors, and that's what's so important here. And then just like you say, people, what's coming out of people is really amazing. So that's great to hear. Great to hear. Hey, at this point, we want to kind of give an update on the referendum.
Do we want Lynn to go first?
Yep.
Oh, Lynn, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I felt really guilty about that now.
No, it's okay. I'll be like 30 seconds. Membership audit was completed, 0 exceptions, so a little celebration, yay. During the COVID-19, operations really doesn't stop. DPI doesn't give us a break on any of our deadlines, so we are still going as if school is in session. Grants are going to be a challenge this year because we don't know how we're going to spend the money or if we can spend the money. it's kind of up in the hands of the federal government and the state government, and they don't even have anything really settled yet. So right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern, but there's still a lot of work to do outside of the grants. We still have to prepare for summer school, year end. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be done on the operations side. So we're just plugging along.
Congratulations on the success on the membership audit. And I know that's a big deal. And you guys were selected this year for a more intense audit, correct? And that's they go in deep, and I want to congratulate you on just hitting that one great. So
Yeah, I was sweating that one, so.
Good job.
Yeah,
good job.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we have to introduce some additional partners here. We have two other individuals with us today. We have Scott Grabowski. Scott is the proprietor and owner of Point of Beginnings. And then we also have Mr. Jim Ostrom. Jim is, what's your title over there, Jim? He's got his mic thing. He's got his mic.
Sorry about that. Construction administration.
Construction administration. I want to preface the discussion a little bit here. As soon as, well, prior to the referendum, as you know, we went out and did the vendor selection, and Point of Beginnings was chosen. We had a lot of meetings leading up to that point. We met with the track coaches, athletic director, football coaches, and we got a lot of input. But as soon as the referendum went through the canvassing board Tuesday morning last week, the work began. And they, you know, the team, Paul Hahn and Terry and Lynn and Steve, you know, Lynn went out right away and started doing the work on the financial. They've gotten, you know, Steve Hirschberg is going to be instrumental, Paul Hahn. And it's, you know, they had a pretty substantial meeting yesterday talking about, you know, where we are with, you know, the timelines we're looking at and with the expectations that we have as a district. And we as a board need to identify, and we'll have to have more discussions on this, at what level we want to be involved as far as the information we get as to the progress and, you know, where we feel on it. And I guess my feeling is I want to be able to answer to our stakeholders. If I could ask a question on the street, I want to be able to kind of give them some feedback. And so we're going to have to feel through that. And I might ask for some comments after Scott and Jim are allowed to present. But one thing I want to talk about, and this was something that was hard for me today a little bit, is our timelines. We had, you know, initially really just concentrated on, you know, it's going to be spring track. And, you know, right now there are some issues that with costing that I'm sure, Scott, you might get into that affect some of those timelines where we might be able to save, you know, $200,000 by not being as progressive as maybe I want to be. But I also know that we as a district want to do the best job that we can. And I want to thank the board, number one, first of all, for, you know, letting me kind of lead these conversations with Scott. But, you know, the whole board was involved in this, and we really need the whole board's feedback at the end here. So, Scott or Terry, do you have any other comments?
No, I really want Scott. I'd like the board to meet Scott and Jim. They're going to be instrumental as we move forward. But Lynn and Paul and Steve will be doing a lot of the work with Point of Beginning, and we certainly, the board and myself, are going to be involved. But tonight we really wanted Scott and Jim to get a chance to have a conversation with the board, get to know you so you could get to know them. And then we want any questions that you have. We've spent now, 3 hours probably with them, really trying to map out what this is going to look like for the project, and how do we get the biggest bang for the buck? Because we spent a lot of time fine tuning and getting that down to that 2.9 million. And we want to stretch out as far as we possibly can for the community and the kids. So that's what I have. And with that, I think Scott could spend a few minutes. And again, Scott, we're not looking for elaborate, 10, 15 minutes of interaction would be great.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Terry. Just number one, just wanted, I really, this COVID stuff drives me nuts because I would love to be in a room with you guys and introducing myself that way. But Jim and I are really excited to be part of the project. You guys probably know the history. I married a Nekoosa grad, which is Jim's sister. So these projects really excite Jim and I. We build athletic facilities all over the state. It's really, Jim is looking forward to not having to drive 2 hours to a project. So that's good stuff. So thank you for letting us be part of it. Like Terry said, since the referendum passed, we already started getting the ball rolling. We've got soil borings, wetland delineation work. There's going to be some updates to a survey needed, just the base of our design to get that going. So that process is already underway. So, so maybe not to dive too deep, like Terry said, just general project questions that are maybe not schedule related, because I guess we'll talk schedule here next. Does anybody have any, questions from us or from Jim or I about the project or about our firm?
What date are we talking about?
I don't think.
Okay, go again one more time.
What date are we talking about for groundbreaking? Basically.
Well, I think we had a little giant dive right into the schedule. So here's what we had a schedule put together pre-referendum that we were looking at, that we were really going to try to get into the ground. Probably as early as June or July, design it, bid it, and build it. Today, when we met with, Terry and the design, administration team, I threw some things out there about schedule. Okay. What I would propose for a schedule, and we're in some uncertain times right now, and some times that we haven't dealt with for a long time. When I looked at the schedule, I feel both for design and financial reasons, it would be good for us to design this project over the next, let's say 3 months, 3 to 4 months, bid the project out sometime in July or August, have a August or September groundbreaking, and a construction period that would run the end of 2020, so the last 2 or 3 months of 2020, and then we would reopen the project up in the spring of 2021, and then finish it, I would hope by midsummer, July of 2021. The reason I proposed that to the team is I know this project was, we squeezed every penny out of the referendum budget with our estimate. And my personal opinion is that from all the interviews and conversations I've had with contractors, I think there's going to be contractors looking for some work late 2020 and for late this year and for spring of 2021. I think that's one advantage that this COVID thing is going to give us, is I think we can see some really good numbers if we were to just push that groundbreaking off, rather than, let's say, having a June 1 groundbreaking and try to get it all done this year. I think you would see pricing be significantly higher. So to answer your question, I'm envisioning let's say in August or a September groundbreaking. August, let's say, sometime in August. And it's really off the cuff right now. We're still developing that schedule. I think Brian and Terry, does that kind of replicate the conversations we had today?
Yes, it does. And it took me, it was hard for me I kind of went like this a lot when holding my head. And it's still something that, board members, if you have comments or other, it's, you guys have a lot of input into it. So I'd like your feedback on that. When I sat back and thought about it, I just want to make sure we have the best product possible and the most that we can get for our dollar. And it took me a while to process it. It was hard to hear, but I guess I would ask each of you as board members to to talk a little bit about what your expectations are and go from there. Does that sound like a fair proposition?
Steve, would that, by saving some of those dollars, would that give us enough money to go with artificial turf?
We can't use referendum dollars for artificial turf.
Okay. Are we going to be able to raise enough to cover that elsewhere?
You mean for the synthetic turf?
Yes.
Yeah, that is something Scott's going to talk a little bit about too. We're working with them and had some conversations about getting a fundraising campaign going to come alongside the referendum to support that synthetic turf. The board feels that would be a very worthwhile investment for the community.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, and I just to tag along to what Terry said, I do think that just we're right, still right in the heart of the pandemic here. I do think even sliding that construction schedule back a little bit will help a fundraising campaign. I still think it'll be difficult. I think there's a lot of uncertainty out there, but I think we're gonna work with Terry and the team to put together. We've been through so many fundraising campaigns over the last several years, last 5 to 10 years. We've got a lot of good ideas on just opportunities that local businesses could contribute or help, maybe get some recognition as part of the project.
Sure.
So that's going to be a big part of what Lindsay and I and Jim will help you with.
Some of the people that I've talked to on the street, they're really excited about this. For one thing, they're really excited that the referendums have both passed. But they're also, I've talked to 3 different people just in passing, and they are expecting artificial turf. And some of them even said, I do understand that, yes, we may have to do some fundraising for this, but I don't think, I understand when we did our survey, we said that, we asked, do you, is this something you would do? But then we decided to go for a lower amount, not necessarily eliminating artificial turf. We got the dollars to build whatever we can build with that, the way I look at it. I don't feel that's being irresponsible.
It's a difficult balancing act. And, we do need to respect what we discussed in the listening sessions and, with the referendum dollars. I am a firm believer that we are going to be able to come up with those additional funds. And that's just that's a topic that I think we just, I know that Scott shares the same feeling, but when it comes to referendum dollars, we have to honor that, and that the other part has to just come at a different time. But Scott is well aware of what what we've been told by our public, because Pat, I've been told the same thing by people in the community, but we just need to honor where we are, and that's, it's hard to do, but I think we know that we need to do the right thing for the community in the long run for the project, and I think that's that's going to require some difficult work on our part, but that we can get it done.
All right, well, I'm just looking at if if Scott says we could save a couple $100,000 or $100,000 or whatever, what are we gonna use that for? Are we just gonna have the project come in less at that point?
Yeah, and maybe, when we talk, we throw around numbers of a couple of hundred, or that I want to make sure I'm just clear that I don't know that it's exactly 200 or
I get that.
I just know we just bid Tomahawk, right? It was a very similar project, very similar. And we did the same exercise with them. We came up with a budget that was, pretty tight. We didn't want to go in there too fat, so we gave a really tight, construction estimate, and that project actually did come in under budget a little bit, which surprised me. So I think, and again, when I presented this, I guess we'll call it a delayed time frame to Terry and the team, my sole purpose there was to, again, try to give you the best opportunity to maximize your dollars. If I thought we could move it faster and save money, I would. I just don't know, but you're right. When we do these estimates, you estimate all these different pieces: the turf, the blacktop, the bleachers, and every one of them some might come in a little high, a little low. So you are right. If for some reason we came in under budget, that'd be an awesome problem. Where would we spend that extra money? I'm sure we could probably do alternates and some other things, but we'll have to cross that bridge as we go through this design process and decide scope and all those other things.
Can I just add a couple things, Scott? So, if we did slow it down, that would give us more fundraising time. But Scott, could you just talk a little bit about what it might look like this fall? We had talked a little bit about that. So there would be building and there'd be action there from this fall till the next spring, but it wouldn't be 100% complete this fall.
Agreed. I think what I would, again, we're speaking, we still got to put this together, right? We're just, a week into this. So don't hold me to everything I'm saying, by the date. I don't want somebody to come back in a week later, 2 months later and say, you said we were breaking ground on September 1. But here's what I would like to have happen. We bid the project, figure out what we can afford, what alternates we're going to accept. I would love to be able to have the concession stand built, and let's say at least get it closed up before the winter, right? So then they could do all the inside work on it over the winter if they needed. Get maybe the mass grading, get the dirt moved around, maybe get the plaza gravel in the plaza, get the gravel in underneath the new track. And that might be a spot where you could possibly maybe even get the bleachers in. I'd have to talk to the bleacher vendors and see what their workload looks like. So you could, in theory, see a concession stand that's shaped in a restroom. You could see the track shaped with some of the gravel down, maybe some of the bleachers going up. And then we would shut it down, have the erosion control and everything in place, that it's really a lockdown, safe site environmentally and for the kids. And then once the snow thaws and, ground, thaws out, we would get the blacktop in, get the turf put in, get everything seeded. So that's kind of my vision or my thought. And that would definitely give us more time to think through the design, help Terry and Lynn with fundraising, build a really solid campaign that we can make some really thought through asks to the local, businesses, and even open it up even through the winter, you can fundraise. I've seen it done at, wrestling meets and basketball games and different things where you can post certain things. We've had even in Amherst and Manoa and smaller schools that we work with, I've seen the 5-gallon bucket right next to the, to the ticket taker, and there people are throwing $1 in there, or they're throwing in $10, and all that little. If you, let's say your 500,000 is your goal for turf, every little piece of that, gets you a step closer. So.
Just to clarify, Pat, it's not that we can't use referendum dollars for the artificial turf. We have to make sure that we honor the taxpayers' request first before we purchase anything in addition. And I'll give you an example. The last referendum that we went for was for the high school. And before that project was finished, they renovated the admin building. And the taxpayers remember that. So we just have to make sure that we honor what the taxpayers have voted for. That's the only thing I was saying.
Okay, right. I'm okay with that. I mean, I want it to go toward the fields. I don't want it to go towards something else. I just want it to, if we can get the turf or you get a savings, I would like it to be part of that turf project.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, good.
Cody, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, getting it started in August sounds good to me. A little sooner, a little later. I know that there's track meets already scheduled for next year, so it's just getting that communication out. I know the track is our biggest need at this moment, so even if Plan B Games gets a little work done on that so the community can see that we're really trying to get our track going, probably be the biggest thing when it came down to this. So
yeah.
And just so everybody knows, we did not schedule any track meets for next spring because it was before the referendum and Paul didn't know, so.
Okay.
Mr. Mahan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard. I don't see it as that cut and dry. I mean, I think that, I think we would like to save money, but there's a trade-off on getting the project done. So it's difficult for me to say, I'm totally on board with pushing it back farther if I don't know how much money we're going to save. So, if we're going to end up saving 20 grand, well, to me, it's worth building sooner, because the trade-off for the 20 grand would be, well, I'd rather build it sooner than save $20,000. If we're going to save $100,000 or $200,000, I think it's a much easier decision. And I'm not so concerned about extra time for fundraising, because I think I see that as like a ongoing fundraising type thing. I mean, I think there'll be an initial push, but I envision more of a ongoing effort. So, I mean, I understand all the points, but I think it's difficult to say because of the kind of the trade-off evaluations, if you understand.
That was the most difficult part for me to process too, was quantifying that. But what we might be looking at is nearly $100,000. And when we get to that number, there's a lot of things that, that we can do with that money to make this project so much richer for our students and the future of that facility. And that was hard for me, but that's really what, and am I misstating that, Scott?
Yeah. And again, I'm trying to, I don't want to, again, I don't want to go get off the road here and tell you that you're going to save a certain amount. And you're right that I don't know all the names of everybody, but the last gentleman that talked, you are 100% right. I think if you were telling me we were going to save 10 grand or something like that, or 15, I would say, let's just hit this thing and start turning dirt over tomorrow. I am with you 100%. Just with our experience and what we've seen and what we've heard in the last month, I think it's to me, I think it's worth the risk, but I can't, it's still, right? It's still Las Vegas. You're still gambling a little bit, saying that you're going to get to that bid date in July or August, and you're going to save that much. I don't know that. I do feel pretty strongly that you will see some savings, significant savings, but that is, you're right. That's a tough decision, guys. And I'm my recommendation is to wait, but I would understand anybody that would, question that.
Is there going to be a benefit as far as ground freezing and thawing by pushing it back, or is that not a big deal?
That is definitely a good thing when you can get your grading, your mass grading. If we can get the mass grading done and get some gravel down, usually the first big settle, right? The settling of the earth, happens in 12 months, and it's usually because of the freeze thaw. So if you can get some of that grading work done and let that freeze thaw have at it before the blacktop or the concrete is down, that'll definitely, you'll have a better project, in years to come. We've done, I'll give you an example, right? We did a couple of projects where, typically to get these projects fit in one summer, it is really fast. And then a lot of times those are already designed and bid before April. But it seems like all of these projects that we do, we're fighting like heck right at the end, right? In September, Amherst struggled mightily with the rain, and your first event, your first game that you have there you made the date, like Amherst made the date, or they make the date, but this facility just doesn't look that good, right? Because there's piles of dirt, and you got grass is not green yet, and you got barrels up keeping people out of certain spots. That's another advantage with the delay, is I think we can have grass growing. I think when your first big event would be is in this fall of 2021, it would look really good, and you probably could even have some games, lower level games played. There's a lot of advantages. There's a big long list of advantages of waiting, and the advantage of going right now and fast, they're smaller. It's a smaller list, but that doesn't mean it's not an important list either, guys. I totally understand that perception might have been, let's get going quicker. That's just why I want to have that open dialogue. So,
and we are truly in unprecedented times, and that's why this discussion had to take place. But I don't want to take away from Scott what you guys offer, Scott and Jim offer from a company, and looking at the portfolio of the work that you've done, it's worth waiting for a good thing, in my opinion. And we can't lose that focus of the finished product. And that's I want to focus a lot on that too, and not get too caught up on trying to get it done quick.
Yep, I agree, Paul. And I think it's just going to give the whole design process we can vet through it more, we can present better, we can ask more questions, and listen more. I think it's just going to give us that little, that more time to really put a quality project together for you.
As a board, would you like to be updated on a weekly basis, or, come back to this subject in 2 weeks? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think a weekly update is fine, and then if anything major would happen in between there, that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, and if there's nothing that happens in that, just say nothing to report. You got nothing.
I agree.
And you're still comfortable with the conversations that I'm having with Scott, and knowing, I just want to have your confidence on that, and knowing that I'm really trying to speak for everybody. But again, we got to be careful not to micromanage this and let Lynn and Steve and Paul do their jobs too. That's, Lynn, I hope you know that we respect that. Are you listening?
Oh, of course, yes, I know.
Okay, just kidding.
Yeah, I think as long as there's communication rolling between all the board members and everything being done, I think that'll be fine.
Good. Well, we're excited. Scott and Jim, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pumped up. This is gonna be a great thing. I got kids coming up, so Sawyer will be in high school in 2 years. So.
What grades are your kids in?
Sawyer's in 7th grade and Lily's in 5th grade. And then my youngest daughter is just getting ready to go into kindergarten. She just turned.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, so it's good. Good thing. I'm excited.
I don't know. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, Scott or Terry? Do we, I think we covered it. We, here we are getting a little bit, we still got to be celebrating, ladies and gentlemen, about our victory here and the community and how they backed us. And to have Point of Beginnings as partners, I know that we're going to be able to look back at this project and be very proud. So thank you guys so much, Scott and Jim, for your time this evening. And I look forward to, talking with you some more. Any other questions for those guys, gentlemen?
I'm good.
Ladies?
I'm good. I saw you guys down, or some of you guys down at the WASB convention in Milwaukee in January. Very impressed with the work that you've done. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks. Yeah, no, we're really excited. I mean, to say the least. So.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
See you later.
Yeah,
Yep.
see you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Guys.
Okay, the next we have is the Central Wisconsin STEM Academy 2020 contract. The contract is, is pretty much, similar to the one that we've had in the past. Is there any comments you'd like to make on that? Any comments on any changes with the contract or any updates?
Amy, do you want to jump in on that? I don't think there were that many changes as I reviewed it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just read it.
There aren't really any changes besides the dates. We're asking for a 5-year contract as opposed to I think it was the 1.5 years we just finished. So everything should be in order and it should be straightforward. We changed what DPI asked us to do last time, so it should all be good to go. And everybody
and
has a copy of it.
I personally, I want to thank you guys. Go ahead.
Everyone has a copy of the contract?
I do. I have the contract with me right here. I had the opportunity to read it prior to the meeting. And again, the language and everything is unchanged essentially, with the exception of the dates.
Right.
There was some issues with did we qualify the language on the student ratios and everything?
We got to work on that yet.
Very good. I want to, the performance, student performance data that you've shared with us. I want to thank you for that and congratulate STEM Academy on, how their students have done. And we as a board really appreciate that feedback. So I'm pleased that, again, this is a big shout out to our supporters with regards to the operational referendum. This was definitely one of the things that was hard. And I want to thank you guys for the pain that you went through in this last planning period. I'd like to put a motion on the floor. There's a motion on the floor to approve the CWSA 2020 contract.
So moved.
Second.
have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Cody Bubilski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes. Motion carried. Welcome, guys.
I just want to quickly say thank you guys again. I know I say it every time, but thank you guys for your support and everything. And Nathan, thank you for your help and everything that you do to support us too at school. So we just want to say, you know, how grateful we are, especially the community, for coming back and, you know, doing the referendum and keeping us going. We really appreciate it, and we're happy that we're still there.
It's a great resource. We certainly appreciate what they bring to the school, what they offer to various students, and you know, it's just it's fun watching kids bloom in that context.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Amy, for your continued leadership as well.
Thanks.
Thanks, Amy.
Yep. Thank you. You're going to stay on for another term, right?
Probably, because no one else is doing it. So
Bless your soul.
probably will.
And I appreciate that. Mr. Mahan is gonna work on another term as well. I didn't see a reaction.
I saw a nod. I had not.
I wasn't unmuting that for a reason.
We can combine some things.
Okay.
Mr. Hahn can move over to CWSA.
That's true. That's true. I thank you again for all your efforts, and we're looking forward to just some more successful years. So thank you. At this time, Cherry, update on remote teaching and learning.
Yes, I've asked the principals just to give the board a taste on what has been happening around remote learning. So, and Brian, you certainly can share. You've shared a little bit already, but John, let's start with you.
Thanks, Terry. Yeah, I'll give an update right now. We are doing remote learning. The foundation, everything we're doing is through a learning packet that we disseminate bi-weekly. Tonight we had our most recent dissemination of learning packets, and that goes again from Tuesday until 2 to 7. And we do have an electronic presence, but it's the kind of presence that's not requiring all the kids to do that. The bulk of the work is still directed in what I would say through learning packets that the teachers are sharing. They're sharing and communicating with parents through a different couple of mediums, Parent Square, anything that they're choosing to do with creative stuff like Facebook and some not Google Classroom, some videos, I should say. So that's the format that we've been using. In terms of successes, the initial amount of people who come in right away, that has waned a little bit. So in other words, the number of packets that we did from the first week to the second week drop. This is our third one where we're at. I'm not sure where that is, but they reported this tonight when talking to the ladies who were passing out the packet. They said the pace was good and packets were getting picked up. But we also have a process to make sure that the kids who don't pick that up, those kids get that work, and that parents are getting followed up to make sure that they are getting support in so that learning can continue. So that's what I'll share, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
John, what happens if you have students that don't ever do the packets?
Good question. We are bringing back packets and collecting that, and we're asking right now. So the nice thing about our situation is there is a teacher connected with each kid. And it's like, okay, I'm not getting anything from this kid and this family. I'm not getting any communication about, because the dialogue is ongoing. It's a narrative feedback. So what ends up happening is we have at school called the student assistance team. We get together, we troubleshoot, we take action to make sure that kids are doing work. Now, at the same time, we have other people who are like, give us more, and some people we're not hearing from at all. So it goes across the whole spectrum. So we're just trying to make sure that we continue to have a culture in which, we're communicating with the parents that, no, learning needs to continue. These are the goals. We're here to provide support with you. And we'll just say giving more than a friendly encouragement. No, this is what you need to be doing. So we're continuing with the process of communicating our expectations that kids are engaged in learning.
If there was like a worst case scenario, I mean, I think that the packets are going as good as can go, but if there's a worst case scenario where you have a group of whatever number of students that just are bucking the system and are not doing it at all, is that a scenario for next year? The next grade level teacher is playing catch up with those students, or how does that play out?
You know, that's a good question. So essentially right now, one of the things that we talked about when this initially started, we talked about, you know, our expectations. We're going to continue to have expectations. We're all going to be mediocre teachers right now. We're not going to be able to make those learning targets that we had planned for the rest of the year. Our goal is to find out what are those things that we can turning those targets that we can capture and get done between now and then the end of the year. And we know that kids are going to come up next year in the next grade with some gaps. And those are things that we're just going to have to address. And we know that's not unique to us in our situation. It's part of the whole challenge right now with schooling.
All right. Thank you.
John, I've seen a couple of.
All right, Nathan.
I've seen a couple of. I appreciate that.
Dave, did you have a question?
Interesting for the kids.
Thanks, Dave. Say that again. I didn't hear all of that.
I've seen a couple of the videos that you and your wife have done for the kids. It's kind of neat to see that, and I think the kids enjoy it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's just something fun for us to do where people can choose to connect in and not feel the pressure. I know initially parents were feeling a lot of stress. The staff was feeling a stress. We didn't want to add to that. So this was just a fun outlet where people can engage if they.
So I'm going to keep my part brief. Again, meeting's a little on the late side, but just some overviews, some successes we're seeing. As we're now let's acknowledge that we're teaching in a crisis. Different people are at different places across the board. You know, we're dealing with the same issues of, you know, some students are there versus not. But, you know, like I know of a couple of our students, for example, whose grandfather just passed away due to the COVID. I know other ones that we have a number of students, for example, who have gone to live with other family members, several not even in this part of Wisconsin anymore, and how we're still working to keep touch with them. A huge shout out goes to all of our teachers are reaching out. They're working based on parent feedback, and also as we're developing our game, that we're increasingly using the use of video and various things in the direct instruction and things as we're adding to that one. Specifically, a huge shout out to our sports staff members who are calling families and being in touch. And, you know, there's some families right now we're just able to reach for the first time. It's taken several weeks to finally get that through, but we're continually trying. And the message is we are going to give everything we have. We're going to keep, if the students are not rejecting it or they're just doing minimum level, we're sort of meeting them where they're at. And yeah, next year is going, we've had those discussions about how the next grade level are becoming familiar with the curriculum of the fourth quarter to be able to make sure those things get spiraled around. But and each week that brings new wrinkles. Like this week, you know, we're working on issues of feedback and, you know, how we're getting better at that. But what I've noticed, everything we focus on, we get better at, but it takes time to do that. So a lot of shout out to the teachers who are working in this environment and also balancing their own home lives and also balancing their own children who are trying to learn in a way that, you know, as Eleanor said it very distinctly, is not ideal. But we're working with it. We're getting feedback from parents that it's working. Other ones that they're telling us this is the way it's not working for us, and we're reaching out and trying to make the adjustments what we have. But overall, just the effort and the work, it's just we're making progress and it's getting better every week.
Thank you, Nathan. How about Keith?
Yeah, I will be succinct. So I would say that I would like to really say that Rachel Seaver, Susan Baldwin, and our paraprofessionals, specifically Renee Thurber, Carolyn Kreider, Deanne Roble, Ann Taylor, and Bobby Doucette, have really been doing a phenomenal job. Our first priority was mental health and emotional well-being, and that still continues to be our top priority. Teachers are working extremely hard, preparing lessons, changing on the fly. I mean, to something completely new, doing Zoom sessions, checking in with advisories, and and making all possible effort and doing the best possible job that we can. But, you know, as Nathan said, and as Eleanor had put it, you know, student feelings really fall on that level, that it's just not ideal. It's just not the way that anybody wants to see a school year go.
I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone, you know, at all levels, elementary through high. You know, when this first came out, and, you know, even in the last several weeks, when I'm out in the community, a parent approaches me. Generally, when a parent approaches me, I'm ready to get my ass chewed. And I got to tell you what, the compliments that are flowing in about the efforts the teachers are making, from, you know, the supplies that we give them, the hot spots, you know, a parent that just thanked me all over about the fact that we supplied her with one of the accelerated hot spots. And that to me just showed me how much the efforts that you're taking as educators to provide each and every student, you know, texting their teacher until 10 o'clock at night to figure out a math problem. There's things happening now that I'm hearing such great things. Now I know there's probably negative things out there, but I haven't heard them yet. And I just want to congratulate you on all of the good things I've heard.
Well, and I'd like to quickly.
And that's a compliment, because, you know, for people to approach me in the store, you know, wherever, just to tell me about good news is unusual. And I like to hear it. So thank you guys.
And the hotspots brings up a really good point about Eric Saylor and Jesse, who have done a lot of work to try and get hotspots. And Jesse, you know, and Eric have been working to try and troubleshoot with people around internet access, but the hotspots, and we do have more hotspots coming, and we have a few left that we need to get students
and organize
internet
Chromebooks,
access
and
to.
they've been invaluable.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and that's a huge shout out to that tech department. Yes, thank you guys so much for pulling out all the stops and getting it done. Great job, everybody. And as this situation continues to evolve, you know, and what next year brings, we just don't know at this time. But I'm confident that we'll be prepared. Update on district calendar, early release for 2020-21.
Yeah, so this is just an update. And I've asked Nathan to talk a little bit about this, and perhaps John. We've been learning, right? As we're doing teaching and learning remotely, we're learning some things. And many districts are moving forward into the next school year, looking at snow days differently. So Nathan, I want you to talk a little bit about kind of the work that's going on behind the scenes to look at revamping the district calendar for next year, man.
Well, this is my second crack at succinct. Let's see if I hit it better this time. But so real quick on this one, this is information only that we're looking at this. We're coming to the board next month, and then we'll give a more further rationale, but we want you to know conversations we're having around this front. Basically that we have a couple built-in snow days into our district calendar, and there's an option that we can use some e-learning to do those instead. The state gave us that flexibility a year ago. Now, a note here is that we granted e-learning is not ideal compared to the face-to-face, but it's certainly better than anything that's happening on a snow day or on those type of areas. We can find ways to go ahead and push that in. Another piece of this that also is we're expanding this about, this conversation is at Humke. There's some professional development needs that they have that are requiring extra time, especially back-to-back in-service days. One note is that grades K through 5 need, according to DPI, require 87 hours less of instruction than grades 7-12 for those type of areas. And those we can find ways to make happen in grades K through 5 to create some additional learning opportunities for staff as well as support for students. More details coming out, but those are the two things that are driving our discussions. And then we'll bring it to the board for further. But right now, just informational, letting you know that work is happening. So, John, do you want to throw in anything briefly there?
That was awesome, Nathan. I'm not going to try and add to anything you said because that was perfect. The one thing I will add though is one of the things that we have been looking at is our early release routine throughout this year, and we've been doing a study on that, and that's come alongside of this, and we'll talk more about our hopes and dreams about that in terms of what that looks like in the schedule next year too, as we finalize that too.
Any questions from board members? All right, thank you guys.
Yes, thank you, and we look forward to that information. At this time, Lynn, we're back to you. We want to talk about the CISA contract and the approval. Any comments or anything that you'd like us to hear about?
Nope, this is just an annual approval. Most of it is special education services. Terry, Brian, Grill, and I meet each year before when they issue the contract. We go over the services and we look to see if there's any places we need to cut or any places that we need to add services for. So I've included all the information in your packet. Also an analysis from last year's to this year's, so you have a chance to look at that too. So we're just recommending that the school board approve the 2020-2021 CISA 5 contract.
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Okay, thanks, Cody.
Yep.
Roll call, Cody Brubilski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy. You're muted. You're muted, Brian. Brian Geezy. Your vote.
Yes, yes. I could go like that.
that works.
That
will work. Big smile.
I apologize for the hat, but it's cold in here. It's cold in this room, so that's why I got my hat on. Okay, got that taken care of. Mr. Johnson, Start College Now application approvals.
Yep. So the Start College Now application that you have, I am asking that we hold on. That one I hadn't seen yet, and it's a course that we do offer, so I want to work with that family. But you don't have an application for Mr. Hunter Boudreau and his classes. I would recommend, although now they have started the registration and it's only going to be one of the courses that he'll actually be able to take, but he's working on firefighter certification, and we do not offer any firefighter courses. So those ones. So for Hunter, I would ask approval. For the one that you have in the board packet, I would ask that we hold on that one so I can work with that family.
Hunter is a great kid, so I'll definitely push that motion forward. So.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please signify. Let's do roll call, please.
Cody Rubilski.
Yes.
David Schmidt.
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes. Okay, policy governance. R3, self-directed thinkers. We had a good discussion on this last week, Thursday. What's that? Oh, correct. And, you know, we did highlight, Diana, we did highlight some strengths and weaknesses, or just strengths primarily, correct? Or do we need to discuss those? I'll look at my notes from last month. Diana, do you have my notes from last month on that one?
Not right in front of me here.
Okay, I'll get those to you.
Okay.
I think, is there anything that the administrators want to bring forward?
We did talk about it earlier today. Principals, you want to share anything on our 3 student or self-directed thinkers?
It's a tall order and we're working hard.
And just, I'll remind people, self-directed thinkers is all students are creative, self-directed thinkers, prepared for and able to adapt to a changing world. So each building has gone through several questions that they've reflected on over this past year.
Yeah, and it's well documented, and I want to. There are many strengths, and then we'll make sure that we get those documented in there. I'd motion on the floor to approve R3.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Corey Babelski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes. GP 11, board member violation. Motion carried.
You're good.
GP 11, board member violations. Board members were all emailed this guiding principle. We've all done a very good job of conducting ourselves in a manner that's appropriate. A few little things here and there, but nothing. I mean, there was no findings of non-compliance. So, motion on the floor to approve GP-11.
I make the motion.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Corey Babelski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
I think all this home seclusion is driving me nuts, but I'm doing better. BSR 5-E, monitoring district administrators' performance. We discussed this in the board workshop. However, we were not able to bring it to the board meeting last month. Within the workshop, what we did is we looked at all the year-to-date, July to now, strengths and weaknesses that Diana has faithfully just and admirably put in there. Comments and, weaknesses and opportunities for improvement. And the only weakness I kind of called on myself a little bit is not being complete enough in those monthly, we were even kind of going past today. But, I think we talked about this Thursday. I generally do prepare a written statement, and it's generally, Pat, you made an indicator that, if it's something that if I wrote it, but you didn't agree with it, it's something we can change and get it done. But this monthly summary is what will result in Terry's yearly performance review. So if it's not on there, it's not going to get reviewed. That's a burden we have to take upon ourselves. So the checkup here in January, this was originally on the schedule for January, was just a 6-month checkup. And we still want to continue to do that 6-month checkup. But at this point, is there any discussion by board members first? Brian, just go like this if you don't want to talk. Brian, no? What do you know?
It's 8:30, so I don't want to talk.
Okay. No discussion. At this time,
Tell you back up.
thank you. We'll need to get better. But at this time, I'd like to just, for that 6-month follow-up that we're talking about for January, motion on the floor to approve it.
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cody Bubilski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes. The next two are also, these are back to board responsibility, GP 12 and GP 5. These are very straightforward. And Diana, with your blessing, and Terry, I'd like to just, both of these were sent to the board members. There were no findings of non-compliance. And can I combine the motion on these, Diana?
Sure.
I'd like to call for a motion to approve GP 12 and GP 5.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call, please, again for approval of GP 12 and GP 5.
Cody Bubilski,
Yes.
David Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Mahan.
Yes.
I vote yes. Brian Geezy.
Yes. Okay. Consent agenda. Mr. Cody, would you like to read the donations?
Yep. All right, we have Fay Publishing donated 100 artists and letter packs to HES, Humke Elementary School third graders. Southwood County Empty Bowls donated $930 to help during the pandemic. We have some school nutrition donations here. ERCO donated $2,500 in a truckloads of bags and baggies, estimated value around $350. Pritzl's donated, Pritzl's Trading Post donated bags. Wisconsin State Cranberry Growers Association donated 375 packages of craisins and 480 juice boxes. Matt Harn donated prepackaged foods. Manny Cooper donated bags. On the Backpack for Kids donations, 65 from Bethlehem Lutheran Church, $400 from Lake Arrowhead, $50 from Barbara Scholl, and $70 from Bethlehem Women in Missions. So thank you very much to all of our donors this month.
During this much needed time, those donors are greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. And there's probably more than were mentioned, but we thank each and every one of you.
We do have some retirements that you might want to mention.
Yep. And I wanted to give the offer. We have some retirements of some people that have been with us for a long time, and I'd like to give the opportunity for the administrators or Terry to make a comment.
Can I go? Because two of those retirement, or all three retirements are coming out of the special education department. I'll say it's going to be a hard loss for us. Because between those ladies, you have Laura, who has 30 plus years, not all in special ed, but experience. You have Carrie Copeland with 30 plus years. So and Sue Heller-Walrath. I don't know how many years she has off the top of my head, but all of
It's
them.
21, Brian.
21
years in our youth. And then she subbed in our district for 2 years prior to that. So very
80 years right there.
80 years of experience is what we're losing. So special education's going to take a hard hit. They have contributed
I also want to
Nekoosa and to students, and I cannot thank them enough and say how much it's going to hurt to lose them. So I'm excited for their new adventures, but also I'm very sad to see them go.
And I too am sad that they're leaving us, but I also hope and just wish them the best future that they possibly can have in the new next chapter of their lives. So we're gonna miss you guys. So round of applause. We'll miss you.
Well, now, quick note, Brian gets to go ahead and kick
Go
them
ahead,
off because he
Nathan.
has a thing, but we've got a stake in them too, real quick. Just to note that Carrie Copeland has just been, quietly moving lives and families and just in her position for years. And Laura Koleski, when I first got here, she was my mentor. No, she's the one who showed me the ropes. And she gave me that start. I so appreciate her.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nathan, just so you know, I talked to Laura this morning and she was choked up over your kind note that you shared with her. And I mean, these folks that are retiring have all been so impactful. I mean, since I've come on teaching and learning, it's incredible. So thank you for sharing what you've shared, and yes, they will be missed. Could we just touch on the resignation so the board knows where our folks that are resigning, they're moving on to new chapters in their lives. So could you touch, sorry, Brian?
So I can touch on Joe Haynes. He actually is our school psychologist for the last 3 years and has been an amazing contributor to our department, to our school district, helping gain MTSS going in buildings, helping support special ed as we move forward. He's been my right hand for the last 3 years, and I can't say enough about him. He's taking a position actually in the River Falls School District to move closer to family because, as many of you know, he just got married this fall and they're looking to start a family. So want to be closer to family, and I wish him nothing but the best. He has been wonderful. So,
John, how about Kate?
Yeah, I would love to speak to Kate. Kate's been with us for 3 years and she's been fantastic too. And she and her husband are just really had an opportunity to move north after acquiring some land through their family, and they're just going to go seize it and just go out there and start a life together in northern Wisconsin. So we wish them well. And she's been fantastic and a super person to work with, and she will be missed. Brian, did you want to talk Michelle?
yep. And Michelle as well, she was with us for 1.5 years, and she took a position because she was doing a lot of extra work speech and language wise in the Wausau area and got offered a position with the Wausau School District. So we want to thank her for her time and wish her nothing but the best in Wausau.
There's that, Mr. President.
Very good.
We want to talk employment. Amy Seipel, Jonathan Panis, and Taylor Michaels.
Right. Quick note to Amy Seipel. She's just been with it. She only signed on with us a couple weeks before we shut down, but she's put all kinds of work in connecting with families creatively as best she can. Again, just a lot of drive, a lot of initiative. We appreciate what she's brought.
And as for Taylor, she will be our new speech and language pathologist starting next school year. Amy Heyman, who's a community member in the district, is a retired speech path from Wisconsin Rapids and is actually subbing in for Michelle until next school year when Taylor would pick up. So.
And then Keith.
And Jonathan is coming from UWSP, where he's finishing up his degree as for math certification, and will be coming. He's very excited to come to Nekoosa, and he has some Nekoosa connections as well. So.
All right. And then, did you want to talk about coaches too? Yeah.
All right, I'd like to call
Ryan, you're muted again.
Yeah.
You're muted.
Could you read my list before? No.
No, I could not.
Is it, yes, is it on me? Or no, I'm calling for a motion to approve the consent agenda as approved,
So moved.
as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cody Babelski,
Yes.
David Schmidt. David Schmidt, where'd he go?
He's not there anymore.
I think he's gone.
Brian Mahan.
I'd like to abstain from that vote.
Brian? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I vote yes.
The one thing I said while we were motion passed, but I talked about Liz Boudreau a little bit and just welcomed her as a JV softball coach. Liz is always one of those persons just giving 110%, and we just welcome her to that position if and when they can get back into it. So thank you. At this time, we're scheduled for our next meeting on May 14th, board workshop, and May 19th for the regularly board meeting. And at that time, we'll also be conducting a reorganization meeting. Diana, do we typically report at 6 o'clock for that meeting?
Yes.
So the regular meeting for the month of May 19th, will begin at 6 p.m. We have been recording this entire meeting. This meeting will be available on our website. Is that correct, Diana?
Yes, I believe so.
Very good. Will we also be scheduling a closed session during the last week of May in preparation of the district administration evaluation? We'll have to see where we are. That'd be a difficult one to do this fashion, but we'll do what we need to. But I want to thank everybody for tonight. Any closing comments, concerns? Diana, I owe you some language on the guiding principles, so will you hold me to that?
I sure will.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank everybody for your flexibility tonight, and as we kind of stumbled to get the meeting started, so thank you.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened with that, but.
And as we move through this referendum, the operational side and the capital side, Diana had a really good idea. Diana, do you want to tell everybody about that?
You can.
I don't know if I'll do as good a job, but on the website where we had the information on the referendums, what we're going to do is we're going to have a little section with the operational referendum that is describing what we're doing with those monies, the positions that are being hired, what's going on. And then that's where we're also going to be updating the capital improvement project so that there's transparency. So if somebody asks me on the street, not only will I verbally be able to tell them, I can point them to another resource where, hey, just watch this. It's going to tell you what you need to know. Is that an accurate statement?
Yep, that sounds good. That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And thank you for that idea. That was yours. And Jesse, you're still there. Thank you for everything you're doing out there. Brian, you've been pretty quiet. Yeah, this is the time where you're supposed to speak up.
Yeah, I'd like to move to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, everybody. This is something that's hard to do, but I want to thank everybody, and Nathan, John, Keith, Brian, Eleanor, our last meeting. You'll be here in May, right? Okay. Great.
You'll be here with us in May, right, Eleanor?
I'm unsure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.